All right, we are back with another week and yet another episode. If you guys are new here, my name is Wolf and this is Elizabeth. She is a certified Weiss Method practitioner, and we're here with this episode series discussing the Weiss Method and specifically how the Weiss Method helps treat different dependencies. This week, we're going to be discussing specifically how the Weiss Method can help with weight management as well as a dependency on sugar. So Elizabeth, if you want to dive in a little bit, we have other videos on how the Weiss Method works, but if you want to give a little overview on the Weiss Method, and then we can go in and start talking about really, how the Weiss Method helps with weight management and sugar dependency. We'll get into it.
Great. Sure. So the Weiss Method is an energy-based treatment, and it is basically helps to disconnect the habitual cycle that a person wants to work on at the root cause. So what that means is that the practitioner is working in your bioenergetic field, also known as your aura, and cleaning and rebalancing things, and basically putting things back the way that they were meant to be, so that you get a chance to get a fresh start. And that's the nutshell version.
Absolutely. And so, in the past, we've discussed how the Weiss Method helps with other dependencies, some of them being alcohol use, nicotine, different things that people have, specifically with weight management and a dependency on sugar. Like how does the Weiss Method specifically treat those, and kind of how are those, a unique dependency versus other stuff we've discussed?
Yep. So great question. It is a little different because, like with the nicotine dependency and the alcohol dependency, those substances have an addictive nature to them. And it is a black and white scenario. So the idea is to stop altogether any, imbibing of alcohol, or however, or the cessation of the nicotine. It's that black and white, and the treatment assists to do that. Now with weight management, it's a little different because we have to eat. So the idea, and I'll talk about the sugar treatment first, because that's always the first treatment in the weight management anyway. We also do, just straight sugar treatment, because not all people who are dependent on refined sugars are overweight. So we do separate that out. So, for instance, with the sugar dependency, and it's interesting because I think in the medical world and scientifically, they are actually right on the verge of recognizing refined, added, industrialized sugar as like a drug. It actually affects the same parts of the brain as something like cocaine does. So it is a very powerful substance in and of itself, and you can get addicted to it. And many people are, and many people handle it okay. It's not so much a problem, but it's basically empty calories, the refined sugar. And the reason for that is because they have taken out anything that is of any benefit to our body, except for giving us a really good bump up.
Yep.
So kind of like caffeine in that sense. It is a stimulant, and the problem with for many people with the sugar high is that there then is a cliff, and then you want more. And so it does turn into a vicious circle. You actually end up hungrier. So people can recognize that those symptoms and what that's like, and when you're lagging at 3 o'clock in the afternoon or whatever, and you want that sugar fix.
Yep.
So there's a little bit of an intro into the sugar aspect of it.
Absolutely. And then, other people, someone might have this dependency and think, hey, maybe I'm eating too much sugar, or, maybe I need to watch my weight. And, I'm sure, as anyone knows that's looked for a remedy, I'm sure there's other remedies out there that people have tried. How is the Weiss method different than something that people may have tried, in the past?
Well, there's a bazillion diets out there.
Yeah.
The Weiss method is not a diet. It's and I'm and we're not nutritionists either. I actually work alongside of a nutritionist that will put together meal plans and things like that for people, if they so need it. There's so much available to work it out. The way that the Weiss method works, as we said, it's an energetic type of treatment that interrupts the addictive cycle. That's what we do. Um, the other thing that I do is that I do check-in calls in between. Now, we're going to now switch over to weight management,
Yep.
because the weight management aspect of it is, usually people become overweight because of other issues. It's just like any other dependency. And it's usually, you know, there's many reasons. And we don't proclaim to deal with those many reasons. Although, because of the wisdom of the Weiss method, and the fact that it's dealing at the root cause of things, it does help people to recognize those things, and they can then deal with them. Um, but as I started to say, we do check-in calls like weekly. Um, so there can be a bit of a, adjustment going on a regular basis in between the treatments. So with the weight management program, there are 3 treatments included. Okay. So the first treatment, as I said, is always sugar. Second treatment, it could be refined carbohydrates, which is actually another type of sugar. But we focus on that specifically. Um, and as I've said before, the Weiss method works much better when it's dealing with one thing at a time. And actually, we don't deal with multiple things at once. So we do, many times it's refined carbohydrates for the second treatment. Sometimes it's gluten. That's another one that helps people to clear their system, and that gluten aspect can really, it's going to sound like a cliche, but gum up the works.
Yep.
It actually coats the inside of the digestive system and doesn't allow the nutrients to get through. So, you know, to absorb and get to the rest of the body. And it's really all about that, clearing out the system so that what you do put into your body, and we do recommend very basic things, food groups, uh, you know, definitely a lot of water as well. That's a very important aspect of any treatment. Excuse me. Speaking of water.
Everyone, if you have some water by you, take a sip of water.
Yeah, take a water break. Um, so, um, yeah, the gluten treatment is another option. Dairy is another. So it really depends on the person. So
Absolutely.
that's an overview.
That makes a lot of sense. And, someone I'm sure if someone's listening to this video, they've probably made the decision internally that, hey, I, want to do something about my sugar dependency, or, really get a handle on, weight management, whatever the dependency is that you're trying to solve. But speak a little bit to, how, what mind frame does someone need to be in to find success in the Weiss method? Because someone could show up and say, hey, I want to solve my issue, but if they're not really behind it, might be difficult. So what kind of mind frame does someone need to be in to find
Yeah,
success?
very important question. And, I tell people when we I always do a consult prior to somebody deciding they want to go ahead. And I tell them, look, the Weiss method can interrupt the cycle for you. Um, However, it's up to the person to actually be able to keep that decision that they've already made fresh. It, you can't make a decision once and
Mm-hmm.
think it's going to hold forever. Um, so it's not like, you have to have like willpower or anything like that. It's not quite like that. It's much more internal to a person deciding that this is what they really want, that they want to take back control over their life. And they don't want to continue to give that control over any substance, whether it's food, alcohol, anything. Um, so, that's what we talk about in the consult. Um, and decision making is a very, very powerful thing when somebody takes it seriously and that it really means something for their life. So that's what I'd say to that.
Absolutely. And what does it look like, when someone makes that decision, goes through the Weiss method and is on the other side of it? How does their life look when they've, are rid of their dependency and have a grasp on it?
Well, with the sugar, as an example, you can read about this on the internet. It takes, and everybody's a little different, but anywhere from 3 to 5 days for that sugar to get out of your system.
Mm.
That's not a long period of time.
Even if it's a little bit of sugar, it's any amount of sugar, it takes 3 to 5 days.
Well, you become I'm talking about somebody that has, you know, takes a lot of sugar into their body every day.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Um, so many people come to me and they're having, cookies after lunch and candy bars. It it's can be quite serious.
Yeah,
And it's definitely got them,
yeah.
and they've lost control basically. Um, so, you know, what does it look like when they have back control? They can walk past that bowl of candy on the countertop, at work. Uh, in their meeting in inside of the conference room, the tray of donuts has no attraction whatsoever. I remember a client telling me she looked at them, this tray of donuts in a conference room table, and they looked plastic to her. She was so amazed.
There you go.
So, I mean, it's really, becoming indifferent, and you get to choose what foods you put into your body, not something else.
It's amazing. That's awesome. And if someone were to start doing the Weiss method, are they working specifically with you?
Yep. Yep. So I am a certified Weiss Method practitioner, as you said, and I can do face-to-face treatments. I'm here based in Maine. Great time of year to visit, summertime.
It is.
um, or for many people outside of the local area, I work with them remotely, and the treatment is effective either way. Um, it's there's how that works is actually written up on the website, and so I can work with anybody. Yeah.
Fantastic, fantastic. And I believe if someone does want to get started, they can go to the website, which if they're watching a video, I'm sure we have it linked in the description here, but it's weissmethodusa.com. They
Yep.
can go there, they can sign up for a consult and start moving in the right direction and figure out if the Weiss method is right for them.
Yes.
Sounds great. Well, is there anything else that we want to cover that we missed in, in weight management and dependency on sugar?
There's probably a lot of things we missed, but I think that gives the broad strokes.
Yep.
And if somebody is interested but they're not quite sure, as I said before, we do consults, 15-20 minutes on the phone. They're free, no obligation, and you can ask your questions. Yeah, let's leave it there.
Fantastic. Sweet. Well, if you guys made it this far, we appreciate you watching. Like we said, you can get started on weissmethodusa.com. And, if it's right for you, we wish you the best. And, either way, it's an exciting next step in your journey. And we wish you all the best.